Hi, 1 Hour Smart Home here, and today we're going to compare the Sonos Beam versus the Sonos Arc. And you can see the first very obvious difference between these two Sonos speakers. The Sonos Arc is almost twice the size at 45 inches as the Sonos Beam, which is 25 inches. And the Sonos Arc also has 8 woofers or mid-range speakers and 3 tweeters versus the Sonos Beam's 4 woofers or mid-range speakers and 1 tweeter. Now, that's not all that separates these smart Wi-Fi soundbars. Both of these are designed to play streaming music from your phone, but they are also intended to be used as TV soundbars. And they both can connect via an HDMI or an optical input into the device so that you can get streaming surround sound. Now, that is where there is one major departure between the two of these smart speakers. The Sonos Arc is Dolby Atmos sound compatible, while the Sonos Beam is Dolby Digital sound compatible. And you might wonder what's the difference between those. Well, the Dolby Digital Sonos Beam is able to stream 5.1 surround sound signals, while the Sonos Arc has Dolby Atmos. Well, 5.1 surround sound directs the sound to a particular channel. So in a surround sound system that you might have with the Sonos Beam, you would have a center channel, a left channel, a right channel, and if you have Sonos Ones connected, you would then have a rear right and a rear left channel. Now, what the surround sound with 5.1 Dolby Digital does is send the sound to a particular channel. With the Dolby Atmos sound, rather than sending the sound to a particular channel, it's sending the sound to a particular 3D location in the room. So that if you're sitting down, that sound is encoded and sent to be 2.5 feet behind your head, 6 feet up and behind you. And how the Sonos Arc does that with Dolby Atmos is a digital processing chip, but also the location of the speakers. The Sonos Beam has primarily forward-facing speakers and some that are slightly tilted to give you that left and right channel. Now, the Dolby Atmos compatible Arc has 2 speakers that actually point upwards and speakers on the very end of the device that are designed to bounce sound around the room to those particular locations so that you get 3D sound with the Sonos Arc. Now, in my testing of both of these speakers, they both sound great, and for streaming music, there's not a huge difference in listening quality because while the Sonos Arc has more speakers, I typically don't listen to music at 100%. Either one of these soundbars, I rarely turn it up past 30%, and they both have really good quality sound. So let's go ahead and do a sound test of the Sonos Beam versus the Sonos Arc so you can see how these two compare. We'll start with the Sonos Beam first, and we'll set it to 40% volume. We'll keep both of the speakers at 40% volume and the microphone 1 foot away. Now we'll sound test the Sonos Arc at 40% volume, just like we did the sound test with the Sonos Beam. So as you can see, at lower listening volumes, they have a fairly similar sound. Now, what I notice in person is that the Sonos Arc does have deeper bass, and some of the instrumentals sound more clear than they do on this Sonos Beam. But at normal listening levels, there isn't that much of a difference between these two soundbars in a normal sized room. Now, what I have noticed is that the Sonos Arc definitely fills the room, a larger room or a room with high ceilings, much better than the Sonos Beam does. Now, for watching TV, if I'm just watching a standard program, the Sonos Beam and the Sonos Arc are very similar in sound quality. And I've connected them both with surround sound systems, where I have the Sonos Arc and two Sonos Ones as the surround sound speakers paired with each of these devices. And for regular TV listening, not that big of a difference. Now, where I have noticed a big difference is when you are watching a movie that is encoded in Dolby Atmos sound, you can definitely tell the difference between the Sonos Arc and the Sonos Beam. The Sonos Arc actually makes it sound like a movie theater. And that 3D digital sound that we talked about earlier with Dolby Atmos really does sound amazing, and you'll be turning around while you're watching a movie because you actually think something might be behind you. So that is a really cool feature with the Sonos Arc. Now, another major difference between these two smart speakers is that the Sonos Arc is almost twice the cost of the Sonos Beam. So when you're considering which one of these to get, really it might come down to, do I want a Sonos Arc or do I want to get a full surround sound system with that Sonos Beam and get the two Sonos Ones for basically the same price as one Sonos Arc? But the major disadvantage I see with that is that you don't get the Dolby Atmos sound with the Sonos Beam like you do with the Sonos Arc. Now, as far as similarities go, both of these have a lot in common and some of the features that make any Sonos speaker great. Both the Sonos Arc and the Sonos Beam have voice assistants built in. So you can choose between using Amazon Alexa voice commands to control your speaker. There's actually an Amazon Alexa speaker and microphone built into the Arc, and the same thing is built into the Sonos Beam. Or you can choose to use the Google Voice Assistant. And once again, there's a microphone and a speaker in there, so you can use Google Voice Assistant on either one of these devices. And you don't have to use those Google Voice Assistants. You can just mute the Voice Assistant if you don't want to use either one, but it is a nice feature to have Alexa capability or Google capability, and choose which voice assistant you want to have installed on this. You can choose at any time and switch it up at any time through the Sonos app. And that's another feature that both of these have, is they both work on the Sonos S2 app, which is the latest and greatest Sonos app. And I do really like Sonos speakers for the easy use on the Sonos app that is very intuitive for you to be able to play music, make adjustments to equalizing, the surround sound, or change around some of the features on your Sonos device. I think that's a key benefit to either one of these. And when you're comparing these to other soundbars or other sound systems, I really do feel that the Sonos App Interface blows the other competitors out of the water, because you don't have to have a remote control with 120 buttons that no one knows how to use, so you end up listening to music less often. Where with the Sonos app, it's so easy to use that basically you give someone a cell phone with the app and they're going to be able to figure out how to play music on their own. And I think the intuitiveness of the Sonos app is really what makes any of their speakers shine. Now, as far as other features that are in both of these speakers, both of them are AirPlay compatible, so that means they're going to work with HomeKit and AirPlay, and you can stream music right from your iPhone to either one of these speakers using AirPlay, or you could just use that Sonos app. They both have HDMI or optical connections, and they will both connect to your standard Wi-Fi network. Never had any issues getting these to connect to Wi-Fi networks, and they will connect to your other Sonos speakers through the Sonos app and the Wi-Fi network, so that you can sync all of your Sonos speakers together so that you can stream the same song across your house, or different songs if you want, or sync them in a surround sound configuration with either one of these through the Sonos app. Another cool feature of the Sonos Arc and Sonos Beam is that they are both TruePlay tuning compatible. And what this is an interaction with your iPhone, where Sonos uses your iPhone to measure the sound in a room and then automatically tunes your Sonos speaker to that room using the measurements you took with your iPhone. So it's a really neat way to tune the sound, and you can definitely tell a difference when you tune a Sonos speaker using that AirPlay compatibility. And I've turned it on and off on my phone just to see how much of a difference it was, and it was pretty astounding that I could tell the difference when it was tuned and not tuned with that TruePlay feature. And it makes an even bigger difference if you're using it as a surround sound setup. So I really like that feature. I don't know of many other manufacturers doing any kind of custom tuning like that, and I really liked setting it up on the TruePlay tuning with the Sonos app. And there's two other features that are both on the Sonos Arc and the Sonos Beam that I really didn't anticipate using that much, but I actually use a ton. And that's the night mode and the speech enhancement mode. When you're using the Sonos Arc or Sonos Beam in night mode, what it does is dampen really loud sounds. So if other people are in your home and maybe they're studying or they're sleeping, you won't disturb them with a super loud booming noise when you're watching an action movie. It dampens those louder sounds so that at night you're not going to disturb people as much. And the speech enhancement, I've also noticed, is a great way to have better sound quality for listening to a movie. If you're having issues where the sound is too loud on the movie, where the background noise is too loud, and maybe you're not hearing what the actors are saying. So that speech enhancement mode just makes the speech louder and more clear when you're listening to TV on your soundbar, and that's available on both the Arc or the Sonos Beam. And I've really enjoyed both of those when I'm watching a movie at night to make it easier to watch the movie and not disturb people in my house. Now, if you're trying to choose between the Sonos Arc and the Sonos Beam, I really think it comes down to just a couple things. If you want the best of the best sound quality, you want Dolby Atmos compatibility, then you're gonna wanna go with the Sonos Arc. However, the detractor to that is the price. So if you don't need that Dolby Atmos compatibility, because not every movie or show is Dolby Atmos compatible, and you don't have a super large room, and you don't listen to music or TV at extremely loud levels, the Sonos Beam is a good option, and it's typically about half the price as the Sonos Arc. So with the Sonos Arc, you get the best of the best in sound quality and all the features with that Dolby Atmos. With the Sonos Beam, you get most of the features at half the price, but you don't get that Dolby Atmos surround sound. Now, it is still compatible with Dolby Digital surround sound, just not the latest and greatest Dolby Atmos surround sound. Now, if I were going to use either one of these in a surround sound system for my TV, you have a couple options. The easiest way is to use the Sonos Arc or the Sonos Beam with two Sonos Ones and just put the Sonos Ones behind you or to the left and right of you. And the Sonos Ones just plug in and wirelessly connect to either the Sonos Arc or the Sonos Beam right through the app. It's very easy to set up. Now, if you wanted the best of the best system for surround sound with either one of these, you would also add a Sonos subwoofer, which adds that additional bass to either one of these, and that also just plugs in and connects wirelessly to either one of these soundbars. Now, if you wanted to go even further with your Sonos Arc or your Sonos Beam, instead of using Sonos Ones, you could connect these to a Sonos amp that is then connected to two in-ceiling or in-wall built-in Sonos Sonan speakers and pair that as part of the surround sound system. We've got another video that explains using Sonos surround sound systems in different configurations and all the options you have for using a Sonos surround bar as a surround sound setup with other Sonos speakers. So I recommend you check that out, and we'll include it in links below. And if you enjoyed that video, please go ahead and give me that thumbs up, subscribe, or click any of the links below if you want to support us. Thank you.